Good morning. I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to continue with algebraic expressions. And in your worksheet, I'm going to do 3 of those, and you're going to do independent practice after that. So I try to pick the most difficult ones, challenging for me, anyhow. Number 10, you have this algebraic expression, and remember that what we saw is that first we substitute the values for the given, what's the value of the variable, and then we solve. So let's substitute the number 10. We have a square root here. When there is no number here, it means that it's a square. I copy the 3. Instead of p, I'm going to put the number 10. And this is minus, the value of q is 14. All this goes in square root. Minus p, and p is 10, to the second power. Plus the value of p, which is 10, times the value of q, which is 14. I know it's time because there is no symbol in between. Every time there is no symbol means there is multiplication. Now that I have substitute, we can solve. There is a multiplication here. There is no symbol in between. So 3 times 10, that will be 30. Minus, I'm going to take it out of the parentheses, minus the 14. Because there is no other operation doing to the 14. Minus 10 to the second power. 10 times 10, 2 times the base. That's a 100. Plus 10 times 14. There's a multiplication here. And 10 times 40 is 140. Okay, now I have a problem to do here in the square root. Let's do that. 30 minus 14, that is 16. And then I can put minus 100 plus 140. The square root of 16. You can do it on your calculator, or you can think of a number that multiplied by itself 2 times is 16. So the square root of 16 is 4, because 4 times 4 is 16. 4, and now I'm going to copy minus 100 plus 140. Now let's do 4 minus 100. That's negative 96 plus 140. And if you do that, then you are left with 4 here, 44. Now for number 14, we have a fraction. I chose it because there is a fraction. There is this line in between, which is a division too. But we do the same. Let's substitute. The value of r is 7, so it's 7 to the second power. The value of s is 2 to the second power, minus 22. And all of this is divided by the value of r, which is 7 to the second power, minus, there is a parenthesis here. The s, value of s is 2 to the third power, plus 5, and the value of r is 7. Trying to make this bigger. Okay, so now let's do 7 to the second power. 2 times the base, 7 times 7. That is 49. 2 to the second power, 2 times 2. That is 4 minus 22. All of this goes over. 7 to the second power, 7 times 7 again, 49. Minus, let me open the parentheses, 2 to the third power. The base times 3. 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. Plus 5 times 7. There is multiplication because there is no other symbol. And that is 35. Now let's do multiplication first, right? Multiplication and division. Follow the order of operations. 49 times 4 is 196 minus 22. This goes divided by 49 minus, let's do the addition that is in parentheses here, 8 plus 35. That is 43. Now we only have subtraction to do. 196 minus 22. 6 minus 2 is 4. 9 minus 2 is 7. It's 174 divided by 49 minus 43. That is a 6. Now this is a fraction. Can I divide the numerator by the denominator and get a whole number? I think we can. If we divide 174 by 6, we get 29. It's a whole number. Number 16 in your worksheet has a fraction as the variable. 1/4 is the value of x. So let's see how that works. We do the same. We write the 5, the value of x in parentheses. Let's write 1/4 here to the second power minus 10 instead of x, 1/4 plus 3. Now we have exponents. In our order of operations, we do the exponents first. So that will be 5. And since, let me write over here, 1/4 to the second power. You multiply the numerator, the top 2 times, 1 times 1, and you multiply the denominator, the 4, 4 times 4. So you, what you do is that you do the second power to both numbers, numerator and denominator. That's how you do exponents with a fraction. So 1/4 to the second power is equal to 1/16. That will be my new fraction, 1/16. Minus, over here I have 10 multiplied by 1/4. And I know it's multiplications because there is no symbol in between 10 and 1/4, and there is a multiplication here. When we multiply fraction, let's remember we multiply the numerators and then we multiply the denominators. 5 has no denominator, it's a whole number, but any whole number has a 1 as denominator. The 10 has a 1 because if you divide 5 by 1, it's 5. So any whole number has a 1 for denominator. And now we can multiply the fraction like we learned. 5 times 1 is 5, and 1 times 16 is times is 16. So I multiply my first fraction, let's multiply the second. Minus 10 times 1 is 10. See, we're multiplying straight up tops. And now let's multiply the bottoms. 1 times 4, that is 4. And there is a plus 3 there. Since we did not learn how to add 3 fractions together, I'm going to add 2 fractions, and then we will add 3, the number 3 at the end. So let's take 5/16 minus 10/4. The way that we learn is that we multiply the buttons, remember? And that's our new button. So I should write it over here. 16 times 4, that is 64. And then we cross multiply the tops. 5 times 4, that is 20. And 16 times 10, that is, oh, let's put the negative here. 16 times 10 is 116. 160, I'm sorry. Now that I have this, I can do 20 minus 160. You can put that in your calculator. That will give you negative 140 over 64. That is just the subtraction of these 2 fractions. I'm still not doing the number 3. But I will, instead of working with this fraction, let's simplify it. It will make it easier. So let's divide this by 2, both numerator and denominator. 140 divided by 2 is 70. And 64 divided by 2 is 32. This is a negative fraction. We had a negative here. I still can simplify this by divided by 2. So 70 divided by 2 is 35. And 32 divided by 2 is 16. I think I did this division simplification using Cheyenne's way. She does that instead of writing divided by 2 each numerator and denominator. So thank you, Cheyenne. So my fraction is 35 over 16 instead of 140 over 64. See, simplify. So I'm going to put my fraction over here, negative 35, just because I ran out of space, over 16. And we still have this plus 3 because we only did this subtraction. So let's add the 3 here. So now we can add these other 2 fractions, and that will be all. Remember, when there is a whole number, there is always a 1 for denominator. So let me write that 1 there. Now we can do this addition. We do the same. We multiply the bottoms. 16 times 1 is 16. And then we'll cross multiply the tops. 35 times 1 is negative 35. Plus 16 times 3, which is 48. And now we do this addition and subtraction. Negative 35 plus 48. That is 13, right? 13 over 16. And there we have our result. I know this is a little complicated because of the fraction, and we had to remember how to add and subtract and multiply fractions. It's a good review, don't you think?